The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
And we're going to talk to Ellen Field. She's apparently been doing some work on the Occidental timeline. Let's see here. Ellen, are you there?
Yes, I am, sir.
Hi, Ellen. It says here that you've been doing some Occidental college timeline information on Barack Obama. Can you tell us what you've got? Glad to have you this evening.
Thank you. And hi, Dawn. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Ellen. Thank you.
I appreciate everything that you've done. I spent a period between April 2012 until the end of 2013 deeply researching Occidental in person because I do live in the region, so I was able to physically go there. And my impetus, like yours, was sitting at home getting mad and and thinking to myself, well, what can I do personally to find out for myself, to satisfy my own curiosity, my own intellectual curiosity, so that I'm not just relying on what other people are telling me, And since we're lucky enough sometimes to be able to go and do the research in person, I thought that was the way to go. And it turned out to be very eye-opening. So it was over a year that I spent. And to make a long story short, because I'm going to talk all day, and I will hopefully I'll get to talk to you about this later, but the crux of Occidental is the FERPA law. It's the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act that was passed in the 1970s. And the school has consistently used FERPA as its excuse for not releasing the educational records there.
Sure.
And it's an easy law to read. It's in layman's terms. You can read it online. It's very simple to understand. And the law has a list of exceptions to the law, and one of them is the public interest. So the school has never been able to adequately explain, how it's correctly using this law and applying it to this situation. And their press person, their communications person, is Jim Tranquata. I'm sure you know this. He's been with the school for quite a long time. And his line has always been, well, Obama wants his records sealed, therefore we can't release them. Because when the student or the ex-student wants them sealed, that's it. But he slipped up in May of last year in an article in the Los Angeles Times where he changed the story from Obama wants the stuff sealed to our registrar. And I won't name the man here on the radio, but I think our registrar made the decision to seal the records.
Yes.
So that's an interesting slip-up that made me think immediately, well, why, if it's Obama, why are you now blaming it on your registrar? Why are you blaming it on the registrar? What did he have to do with it? So when the school was directly confronted with these exemptions, which would allow the release of basic information, not financial information or social security number or banking information or financials, but it would give you the name, the birth date, the place of birth, and these would all be things that he would have used when he enrolled. They would have been the things he claimed for himself when he enrolled. They just don't have any way around this. They don't have any way around it.
Yeah, like you say, it's public interest. And if there's ever a civil or criminal case brought, they won't have any way around it. Because in discovery, a lawyer can just say, hey, we demand this information. Here's the subpoena. We want it. They've gotten around that so far because the courts on any of these birth certificate issues, the courts have never gotten that far because they've all denied the plaintiffs on the basis of standing. Nobody apparently has any standing to do anything in the courts. So if you never get into the discovery phase, then you can never get any information. But somewhere along the line, the donkey kazoo will hit the fan, and for Charlie Weaver fans will recognize that phrase. Ed was talking earlier about how he'd rather see Obama arrested than impeached, and I agree. And another issue is the RICO, the racketeering and corrupt something.
Mm-hmm.
But there were most definitely RICO violations. That's another law where he can be charged with a civil crime. In 2008, I'm embarrassed to admit it, but let me explain why. I actually donated $1 to Obama's campaign.
Right.
And I did that on purpose.
I'll forgive you.
So that I could be part of a class action lawsuit demanding my campaign contributions back. Because if he ever gets nailed and it's proven that he is a fraud, lied about his birth certificate, et cetera, and is not in fact eligible to serve. Well, we argue he isn't anyway because of his father's citizenship. But if he ever gets nailed with any of these lawsuits and RICO charges are filed, et cetera, everybody who ever paid a dime to his campaign could collectively file a class action lawsuit and ask for all that money back, all the campaign donations. And let me tell you, I would love to see the expression on his face when he's presented with a bill for, $1.6 billion. You have to turn back all that money.
Probably more than that, I would imagine.
Of course, it would never happen. We'd never get the money back, but I'd love to see it, and that's just one more reason to put him in an orange jumpsuit.
One interesting angle is the role of the schools, because since the schools are actively covering up for him, and there are a certain number of people that would have to be involved in this, that, in certain positions. So one wonders, I guess the school could always say, well, he presented himself as X and we have no culpability here, But it's interesting to think about the roles of these educational institutions, because they're not the same thing as a citizen with standing or a person who might be part of that class action lawsuit, So
right.
It's interesting.
Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Were you able to learn if there were separate dormitories for foreign students back in 1980, 81?
No, I was not. I went a different route. I was looking at the alumni directories, which the school no longer produces because they don't want anybody to look at the alumni directories. And so today, if you want to look at the alumni directory for your aunt, or you're doing, any kind of research about someone in your family, you are not able to look at those alumni directories without the permission and the intervention of the head librarian, who must get it for you and then send you the information via email. You're not allowed to go into the school and see those.
So you can't see a yearbook or anything.
And they're not being printed anymore. Now, the yearbooks and the annuals and the campus newspapers are all extant. They're in the library, and they can be seen. Okay, they can be seen by anybody. At least last time I was there, they could. But what's interesting about them is he does not appear, as people have heard, he does not appear in any of them. I've looked at all of them.
Right.
And they have an African-American club, or they had. They had a Hawaiian students club. They had a forensics team. They had a debate club. They had every kind of club you can imagine. And for a high achiever that he must have been to get into that cooperative program with Columbia that still exists today, for JD students, it's interesting that he doesn't appear in any of those things. The only place that he appears in that kind of material has to do with his March 1981 political speech that he gave on the campus, which was his first ever political speech. And they do talk about that.
Now, I know while he was at Occidental, and this may be the only group he was with, I think, if I remember right, he was with the Students for Economic Democracy.
Indeed, yes.
And that was an offshoot of Marxist activist Tom Hayden's campaign for economic democracy. And Tom Hayden, as people know, was one of Jane Fonda's husbands.
That's correct.
So he may have been involved in only one group, and the one he was involved with was Marxist.
Mm-hmm.
Yet
There's
another
one more point I'd like to make before I let you go, and I'll let you have another guess. Something. On August 18th of 2008, and I'd like everyone who wants to check this out. Fox aired a program called Presidential Character and Conduct, Part 1, Barack Obama. And they ultimately did a second one as well about John McCain, but I'm going to talk to you about the one about Barack Obama. This aired on August 18, 2008, and Bill Hemmer was the host. At the time, Bill Hemmer was new to Fox.
Right.
And if you find this program, it's available. You can purchase it on DVD, or you can see clips of it on YouTube. If you watch it, it's done in a documentary style. It's filmed on the campus of Occidental College, and the program uses a graphic throughout the entire program as Bill Hemmer narrates. And the graphic, it looks like a student file. It looks like it's got his name on it. It looks like a 8.5 by 11 file, and they keep showing it over and over again. Have you seen this program?
No, I've just written this down. I have to find it. Thank you.
There is a card they show that looks like a postcard or a letter, And the words that are on the words that say it says on it when you pause the screen when you watch it, it says carded on condition the holder remains in blank. There's a line, no longer than blank. Stay. If you take those words as written and you type them and you just Google it, put them in Google, or do a Google search, what comes up is a long list of foreign student and green card holder information.
Interesting.
Now, either Fox created those graphics to try to allude to him being a foreign student, but they never talk about these materials in the program. They just show them, but they never address them. They never describe them. They never talk about them. They never say whether the office shared information with them when they did the program. They never do. They just show them over and over again throughout the program.
I think
another program, it says Revolution 2.0 on it. Okay, now these things are there, but they're never explained. Either they produce them as a graphic, or they obtain them from the school. I do not know which.
I think.
Interesting.
I think
watch
Orly
the program;
Tate.
it'll blow your mind.
I think Orly Tate sued the school to make that because that was a public document. It was placed on the air, and I think she sued the school to try to get a copy of that.
That file?
Yeah. I think she sued, but couldn't. Apparently, didn't go anywhere. But I know that she's aware of that. And
it's not clear when you see it whether it's created or whether it's. You can't tell whether it's maybe a very good, maybe like a Photoshop type graphic or Illustrator, or whether they're actually showing you something that existed in reality. Anyway, those are the two things I wanted to bring up. I've got other stuff, but I'd like to talk to you. Maybe some other time we can talk. But anyway.
Well, no, you've got Dawn on the line right now. If you've got some other information, let's hear it.
That's
there's
great.
one other really interesting thing.
I really appreciate
go
that
ahead.
because I thought I knew everything, but I wasn't aware of that one. I will definitely look that up.
It'll make your head explode.
That will be one more paragraph in the timeline.
Well,
that's what we're here for,
Ellen.
So, what else have you got?
Well, the other thing is about his presence at Columbia. You guys were talking about that earlier, and you probably already know this, Dawn, but I think it bears repeating. Is that in that same Fox special I just mentioned to you guys, Bill Hemmer interviews Adam Goldman, who is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and a Democrat. I think I confirmed that, but it's pretty apparent. He's I shouldn't come out and say he's a Democrat. I think he's a Democrat. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but I believe he voted for Obama. Okay, he's a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist with the AP, and he joined them in 2002, and in 2012 he won the Pulitzer Prize for his investigative reporting for a groundbreaking series he did that revealed how the New York police were, in his view, harassing the Muslim immigrant population in New York. So he won his Pulitzer for a rather liberal-sounding story, right?
Yeah.
Well, they interview him in the Fox special, and he says on camera, I interviewed 400 people about him at Columbia, and no one knew him.
And no one. Not one person.
400 people. That's pretty mind-blowing. So that's also in that same Fox special, which I recommend to everybody. I purchased it on Amazon. It's still available for sale. Everyone should have a copy of it, and you'll be using your pause button quite a bit when you watch that program.
Okay. I will do that. Yeah, I was aware of the interview with 400 people. I had not heard about the FERPA issue and that presidential character and conduct video.
Well, Adam Goldman appears to be a very stellar individual. I mean, he why would he lie? I don't know. It's interesting to see him come on camera and say, "Look, I'm just telling you, he's an AP reporter, a Pulitzer Prize winner as recently as 2012, and he's saying, look, I went there, I did it. There's no one there."
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.